today has been absolutely wild. We have a huge leak, the biggest in Anthropic's whole history. Claude Code source code has been leaked and it's available for the whole world to download and install. Today we're going to go over what we found when we downloaded the code, because you guys can see on my screen here I have a cursor window and I have installed the whole Claude Code library, and I've been having a look through it and trying to analyze how it works. You can see on the sidebar here I asked Cursor, what was this repository that I'm cloned into, and it says it's a TypeScript application for an AI coding assistant / agent. So this here is the entire Claude Code. So if I open up Claude here, you can see this is what's being leaked. Alright guys, and I have put together a little bit of a whiteboard. So what we can do is we can go through these one by one, and these are essentially what I found showing up in the codebase leak. And I'm going to pick the first one up the top here because green is my favorite color, as you guys know. The green one's the real exciting one because this is a proactive agent, and essentially what this does is it's an unreleased feature where it sort of I guess the name's kind of self-explanatory, but it's like an agent that actually works without being asked to work. So for an example, right, I'm going to build a CRM that has like a calendar as the main screen, right? Then if I turn on the proactive agent mode, it might actually say, hey look, now I'm going to make this section and this tab and actually just go and make it. So instead of it being like reactive where it just basically does what it's told, this one will actually be proactive and go out and start doing things on your behalf, and maybe even just make big sections of the application that it thinks would be good for the CRM. So yeah, obviously it's unreleased, so these things might never happen, but that one's going to be a real interesting one, and if it comes out, I can't wait to make a video on it. I also think I should clarify exactly how it got leaked. So this was actually a mistake on Anthropic's part. They actually pushed the sort of source code live, and then they realized they did it, and then they tried to cover up their footsteps type thing. They literally DMCA'd, copyright claimed everyone that had released the code and stuff like that, but it was already too late. But essentially all the development code that they use looks like this. So I can see this is the domain, this is the year, and this is the copyright function. But then what they do is they run an obfuscating sort of algorithm through it that makes the code look like this, complete gibberish. And then this is what we get, and it basically runs the exact same, but it's real hard to troubleshoot. If you have an error that goes wrong in this, you're never going to be able to fix it, and it's just really uninterpretable. However, there is a certain key that when you plug this key in, it will basically reverse engineer everything, and then once you have that key, you can pretty much derive the original code. And they released that key to the public version, and the researchers, they instantly saw it and reverse engineered it and then put it all over X. So that's how it got leaked. It was accidental by Anthropic's part. They're calling it human error. However, I think that it potentially could have been Claude itself actually released the code, because they used Claude Code to build Claude Code. And there was also last week they had a lot of elevated errors in the platform because people were hitting their limits instantly. So they were scrambling to push out new updates to actually understand what was going on. And I guess they just didn't double check, and that's how it got leaked. So you can see this is the section for the autonomous work, right? The proactive agent. And basically the prompt here says, you're running autonomously, you'll receive a certain prompt that keeps you alive between turns. And sometimes, when it's running autonomously, it will literally just do nothing, where other times it will actually go out and make changes. So this was the certain section, the certain, function that basically, let us know, hey, look, they're going to build some sort of autonomous proactive section. And you can see here, this word Kairos, I'm pretty sure that's the actual name for the mode or something like that. Write that down, Kairos, because you might hear about it in the future. So next I'm going to come down here, and this is the source, guys, the model code names. So we got reference to Capybara / Mythos. You guys saw about 2 days ago, 3 days ago, I made a video on Mythos, and that's just an insanely wild model that's about to drop, or they're planning to drop. It's basically, like a paradigm shift, and they reckon it could be, 200 times better than the current Opus 4.6. And obviously as well, Mythos is the cybersecurity expert. We also got mentions of Sonnet 4.8 and Opus 4.7, so those will probably be the next step up from there, which is quite good. because Opus is a little bit more expensive, and if you're doing a simpler task, you know, you want Sonnet to handle that. Coming down here, we got Dream Mode. Now, Dream Mode's a real interesting one, guys. It's kind of like a new memory system, but it kind of is like, in my opinion, referenced on like how humans actually retain memories, right? We think about things when we're away from things, not when we're doing things. So this is kind of like, you know, you have 5 chats with Claude, you go to sleep, and then while you're sleeping, Claude will actually go through all those chats, consolidate all the memories, the learning and stuff like that, and then add it to your memory file, where the old way was a little bit different. So basically, guys, this is like the memory command on steroids, or V2. So that's going to drop soon. You can see here, this is kind of what it looks like, right? So it has the auto memory, which was the old feature, but then we have the auto dream, which is like the new memory feature. But yeah, so essentially how it works is it will gather all your sessions. So like after a week, you know, after you get like 5 or 10 sessions, then it will go through and it will read all the memory files for them. Then it will put those into one big dream prompt, right? Then it will consolidate all of those down to like sort of bullet points, prune all the, you know, filler information, and then it will store the results. So it's basically a smarter way of capturing all your memories. And those guys that know, that are experts, you know, memory hygiene is very important if you want to have an effective system. So having something like this, in my opinion, is really the cherry on top. So we got Smart Auto. So this basically is like there used to be like a YOLO mode, or like dangerously skip permissions, but Smart Auto is kind of like, you know, if the command looks safe, it will just go ahead, and then if it looks risky or dodgy, it will actually ask you, you know, hey Hunter, should I do this command? Coming up here, we got agent payments. So X42 is basically a protocol where you can actually trade cryptocurrency coins. So the crypto coins are USDT and USDC, so they're stable coins. So it's not going to be like no one can rug pull you, right? Here it would look like, hey Claude, I want to start some sort of business, and it might actually go out and buy the domain for you with the X42 protocol and stuff like that, right? So it might spin up, you know, a different server that you might need, and actually might buy that for you, which is quite cool. I always saw this coming, you know, ever since the agentic revolution. You know, I always knew that agents were just going to be able to buy things. And coming up here as well, we got buddy mode. So this one is more of like an April Fool's joke, where instead of having that crab as their mascot, they had like different little avatars you can do. They also referred to it in the code as like Tamagotchi or Tamagotchi, whatever that is. So here are the different buddies, and I don't know if they will release this, simply because it was actually like, you know, sort of an April Fool's thing. They were trying to have a little bit of fun. Now all the code got leaked, right? So they're probably not in a good mood. But you can see there's like a little blob here. We got a cat, mushroom, a capybara, of course, you know, capybara the model. But yeah, and also guys, I have it as well. This is it in the code. So you can see I actually found the code snippet. So you can see dragon, but it's kind of hard to see here. With all like basically in the code, it looks kind of weird, where as opposed to this, it's nice and easy to see. You know, you got a little robot as well. And it's worth noting as well, like all of these were meant to be animated. When it's actually doing the code, you know, your little buddy would be sort of dancing away. This is what it kind of looked like. And yeah guys, so that was basically it for the video. You know, I took the code, decompiled it, and found the most sauciest things, the things that I found interesting. Yeah, those are the 6 things. So please don't try run this on your own computer, because I just feel like at the moment it's so new. What a lot of people do is they'll put like little crypto wallet scanners or credential stealers in the code, and then they'll put it, you know, on some dodgy website, and a lot of people will go to it really fast because it's just the nature of how like these things work. And then when you go to run it yourself, you know what I mean, it might install some sort of virus. So that's just my word of advice. Like, try to be on an edge of caution when it comes to these things. But yeah guys, you know, I'm super hyped about all of this information, and you know, who knows what's going to happen next. You know, Claude Code obviously got it leaked, so I feel like Anthropic could actually come out and sort of open source it for the whole community to use. I'm not too sure if that will happen, but you know, it's already leaked, so what's the worst that's going to happen? But yeah, that was it for the video. So if you did enjoy, please leave a huge thumbs up, smash that like button. I'm on the mission to get 1,000 subs, so please drop a sub as well. That was it from me guys. Stay frosty.